Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another One Piece chapter review. This is One Piece chapter 1006, the Honorable Hirogoro of the Flower. Damn. All right, Christian. With my guy, Christian Hollinger, as always. How are you doing this week, brother?
I'm doing pretty well.
Glad to hear that. Love the new art for the chapter. I hope the people love that as well. And if y'all want to see more of Christian's art, y'all go to Design Season LLC, man. Y'all hit him up. He makes great stuff. But Christian, man, I want to ask you before we even dive into this chapter, is this chapter better than last week's chapter?
It depends on how you want to look at things. So we got some hype moments, which is nice. We got some things that I guess played out in ways that I didn't necessarily expect for them to play out. So it's nice, but from a narrative standpoint, I'm not sure if this chapter has eclipsed the last chapter.
I agree.
But I do want to address something that, how this actually does still work for One Piece in a certain way. So, in previous chapter reviews, we've been talking about, okay, so it seemed like Oda was going to break down everything that was going on beneath the roof, and we were going to get, little pieces of things. And, I didn't think that any chapter, of course, I'm not a mangaka or anything, but I wasn't sure if dedicating, one character in their fight per chapter would be the appropriate thing. So he's probably going to have to switch between multiple things.
Unlike Dressrosa.
Unlike Dressrosa. So, for me, I'm someone who I wanted to see all of the Straw Hats blossom and get stronger on screen. Yeah. So when I saw, Robin take her stand against Black Maria, I was like, okay, I'm actually invested in this. It's like, obviously, again, all One Piece fans, I think, want to see Kaido's hybrid form, so we want to get back to the rooftop at some point. But Black Maria versus, Robin was something that I'm interested in, and, we've effectively cut away from that. We got none of that information in this chapter.
No Straw Hat, really, except Chopper. And, it's not even really about Chopper. It's more like Chopper's on a time clock, and we see Sanji make a decision. But for the most part, the fights we've set up, we're away from. We're literally going back to right where it was when everybody left off.
Right. And, so we have Sanji, and it's like, okay, well, I think the entire fan base at this point is eager to get Sanji versus Jack. So, to just jump off into this chapter review, pretty early in the chapter, we get Sanji noticing, okay, these drones that are watching us and making these announcements, are talking about young Master Yamato. And I think I speak for the entire fan base when we're like, please don't go to Yamato right now, because it's just too much confusion for you, Sanji. Just go face off with Jack. So instead of getting, Sanji speed blitzing to Jack, which is probably what we wanted to see, we get further setup of Sanji questioning, okay, which way should I go? Now we're praying that he does not pick, to go to Yamato.
See, I think this is what I think. I think if it's not Jack and he chooses to go to Yamato, I don't think he gets there. I don't think he makes it, because I think he gets in. I'm still of the belief he meets up with Marco on his way there, because he has to pass there, and he can't pass there without seeing this guy needs help. And that's when I think that this way, I feel like that could have been the same time as when a Queen's beam's dropping or something along that nature. Now, I'm cool if he fights Jack. I just feel, is this the Sanji stand in me that I feel like he's better than that?
No. I definitely believe that he's better than that, especially because this arc, using not only what's going on, but also, using the flashbacks with the Odin timeline, they're showing us end of series level attacks. We got to see, Odin take a Quake Fist to the face in the anime.
The anime has been crazy. This new week's episode, it's literally Blaze didn't touch, hockey reflection, pushing him back. with Gold Roger and
we saw Gold Roger send Odin through like multiple thick trees, leaking from the mouth with blood, and Odin still takes that though. But we've never seen a sword slash of that caliber. You know, we see Whitebeard, I call him Prime Beard at this moment. So we see Prime Beard, just literally leap in here,
crazy,
excited as hell, and they clash, and Odin's like, what's going on? So it's like, okay, Oda is starting to reveal the curtain or the veil here and saying, look, this is kind of what the end of the series is going to be looking like power scaling wise. So Wano, to me, is a time to push everyone to their maximum potential. This is why a lot of people might be upset that Zoro went from Pika to a Yonko, whereas Luffy had to go through Cracker, Doflamingo.
Luffy's MC, it had to go that way.
I mean, he has to go that way, but even I say this all the time. So Luffy and Zoro are, Goku and Vegeta. They are Gon and Killua. They are, Yusuke and Hiei. They are the two essentially titular, not necessarily titular. I'd be like Naruto and Naruto, but they are two of the most important main characters in One Piece, and they rival each other in that same kind of scenario. So people criticize, not to talk too much about another anime, but people criticize, Goku because he gets each of his transformations so easily, and it seems as though Vegeta has to slowly, creep, and he gets these transformations after Goku, and Goku just keeps moving. So in this case, that's been flipped on his head, supposedly, where Luffy has paid his dues in the eyes of the fans, because we've seen him as the main character move step by step. And we can all admit Pika to a Yonko is kind of crazy if you don't apply a lot of context. Of course, he's taken out some of the other supernovas. But anyways, my point is,
also, the fact that he trained with Mihawk is a little different.
I mean, yeah, it is different, but Luffy also got Rayleigh. So, even though I would not put Ivankov on the same level as Rayleigh and Mihawk as teachers, I'm thinking, okay, you've got Nami and Usopp versus Page One and Ulti. That seems like a very uphill battle, something that I'm eager to see them overcome that. Robin versus Black Maria. We haven't seen a lot of Robin, so that's still an uphill battle.
Mm-hmm.
I completely underestimated Frankie. I did not think he would be able to perform against Sasaki as well as he has thus far, and he's been handling business. Jinbei, I thought would be, having more of a equal battle with Who's Who, but it seems like he's low dipping Who's Who.
And we just don't know.
We don't know because Oda hasn't gotten to it yet. But it's like, okay, if we're pushing characters to advance, then I'm definitely with you in that Sanji versus Jag is a little too standard. It's not really pushing the envelope the way that these other battles are pushing these characters.
Also, it just might be me, but just looking at Sanji in the panel, his hair's starting to look more like in the series Sanji hair with a little curve in there. I'm just saying, maybe that's me being a Sanji fan looking too much into it, but it's time, bro. I had to suffer through you, and granted, I'm okay with last chapter with Sanji a lot more now after hearing other people thinking about what we talked about. I'm a lot more okay with it, and I didn't seem negative in our last review, but I need some Sanji action. It's time to put the raid suit on and stop clowning.
That's what I'm saying.
Because shout out to Tyler from the Discord. He was he didn't like the fact that this is a Yonko battle and it doesn't look like he's taking it seriously. That's the only point I agreed with you, T. Yes. By the way, because it's time to put that suit on, dog. What are you doing?
Right.
And this chapter made it surreal about how the shit's floating, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, look, to your point, I'm saying the same thing. I was saying get to Jack just because, like I said last review, I actually want Sanji to beat Jack down pretty quickly.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah,
I want him to beat down two commanders because that, in my opinion, would completely wipe the slate of all the distaste that people had from Whole Cake Island and Wano thus far, if Sanji literally puts down two commanders, which at this point only Luffy has done. So to that end, my thoughts were, okay, he's out of Black Maria. He's, asking, okay, well, where are the scabbards. And it's like, okay, well, your observation hockey is supposed to be your highest trait. So surely at this point, you sense that Luffy and Zoro are on the rooftop fighting the Yonko. So it's like, okay, you have to make yourself useful. So I was kind of frustrated with the fact that we kind of got the stalling aspect of him being like, oh, well, which way am I going to go? Because again, I'm looking at Yamato and Sanji as like, that's just more of a waste of time. Like, he doesn't know Yamato's on Luffy's side. And I just don't want that to be fleshed out right now. It's like, hurry up and do something. So whether you get involved with Queen or you make it to Jack, just hurry up and get to a Calamity so that, you know, we can start putting some respect on his name. But to move on here, you know, we have Peril Sparrow beating the brakes off of
your girl,
Wanda and Carrot. So I was not necessarily pulling that. I did not know that. I was, again, underestimating Peril Sparrow.
Peril Sparrow, like, look, Peril Sparrow said, I am the first son of a Yonko, bro. Like, what do you little animals go back and eat your grass in the trees?
Right,
like, I was like, that's a bar. I was like, that is
it. Definitely was. It definitely was. You know, like I said, when I was watching Whole Cake Island and I saw kind of how Luffy just manhandled Peril Sparrow's candy wall, I was like, okay, he's definitely not on Katakuri's level. And then we saw from some of the other Big Mom pirates, they were like, well, if Big Mom were to drown or something, like, who would take over? And it seems as though the consensus is kind of like Katakuri, but then Peril Sparrow took like offense to that. He's like, actually, I'm older, I have seniority, I would run the ship. And we see that Peril Sparrow, again, still kind of talking shit about Kaido. And he's like, you know, I don't want to do this. But again, he's coming out very confident. Another bar is like, I got to teach these children what it means to mess with a Yonko. So it's like, okay, like, I really wasn't taking you that seriously, but it seems like you're here to cause some trouble.
And honestly, I think, like you say, everybody pushing their boundaries. If Wanda or Carrot is supposed to lead post Nekomamushi and Inuyarashi being messed up after this, they gotta beat him. Right.
And I mean, it's interesting because, you know, as we move on here, you know, we get into the Chopper and Hyogoro with the Frost Demon stuff. So, you know, I was very interested in this sway of events because this, unfortunately, it's again kind of a tease or a glimpse of what we could have got, but it really reinforces the effect that Orochi and Kaido had. And that is that I caught like a scene that lives rent-free in my head is when Kizaru was ready to pull up on Wano. Like, it's no big deal. And Akainu is like, wait a minute, nah, chill out. We don't know about these samurai. So he doesn't know that Kaido has broken every single samurai's soul. They are literally nothing right now. Wano is a fraction of what it has ever been. So Kizaru could have easily pulled up to Wano and, you know, wreaked havoc. So what we're getting here is a shimmer of what we could have got. So at first, you know, for all these people who keep up with the SBSs and everything, you've seen the pictures of the alternate looks that the Straw Hats would have if they went down an alternate path. So my thoughts at first, before I found out what was going on with Hyogoro, was that being an Udon for forever, Kaido broke his spirit. So instead of being the badass that we get to see in this chapter, he was relegated to this, you know, decrepit old man.
Yeah.
And now that Luffy showed up, inspired him again, his soul is back, that some kind of, you know, weird transformation like that happened, especially when you have someone like Luffy who can be on the brink of death and then literally eat himself back into perfect health. So it's like, or Brook and Luffy again with the gag can drink milk and repair a tooth. So One Piece doesn't follow the same logic, but I was actually very interested to see that it was, you know, these frost zombie virus that effectively just forced out the life force left in Hyogoro. And we got to see a glimpse of what Wano used to be. So Hyogoro straight up takes out Hyote and the rest of the Mimigari.
Made the Mimo Arigumi look like a bunch of bitches.
I mean, and that for me is beautiful and sad at the same time because
I hate the line that he says after that, where he's like, "What if we would have teamed up, Odin? They might have won."
Is that? But it's also, like I said, like I've been waiting for the land of Wano for so long for sword fights. And so, it's like, okay, well, Kyoshiro / Denjiro, he was very prominent in my mind. I'm like, okay, he seems to be legit. I can't wait for a good fight between him and Zoro. We got, our skirmish, which reinforced that, but turns out he's Denjiro. But then he pretty much gets off-screened on the rooftop, except that we do get to see that he uses the Toscan waterfall, I believe, technique with the other 4 scabbards.
Yep.
So we do get some shine, but, his best moment outside of Kaido is faking Hiyori's death. So it's like, okay, so Denjiro's relevant. Ashura is pretty cool, with the way that he was taking out Jack. But really, it's like we have the scabbards as a very strong sword factor, but they were kind of off-screened on the rooftop.
And then
Hyote was made to look like fodder here by a swordsman who seems to be on Odin's level, but is supposedly possibly going to be dying soon. So it's like, well, Oda just showed us some excellence just to take it away from us. So, it's bittersweet in that regard. But I don't want to glaze over this too quickly. So Chopper is sitting here making the medicine. I'm actually surprised that he hasn't finished that yet, considering how quickly he kind of whipped out the plague bullets.
I just like to think that is because because the ice stuff is messing with him.
Yeah,
I
can agree. Yeah,
he is half. And granted, I do think next episode that's over with. I mean, next chapter that's done with. Like I feel like, but also, in the sense of, are we going to get tragedy? Hyogoro got to die. Like, I really don't want Chopper to bring him back. Because if he brings him back, he used all his life force. We're not getting big man Hyogoro.
We're not going to be able to keep big man Hyogoro. But I'm going to talk about what I think or what I hope happens with that. Because, like we were talking in past reviews, every death has to be very, very impactful. And I know that Hyogoro will rally, all the samurai with his death because they all look up to him. But he mentions Luffy being his protege. So what I'm just going to get into it now. What I'm kind of hoping is that Oda does some kind of shenanigans like he usually does without showing us too much. And if Hyogoro is going to die, I need Luffy to come flying through the rooftop. And we find out it could be a silhouette, but we need to find out that Kaido just smacked him through the freaking floor, and he lands right next to Hyogoro whenever Hyogoro dies. And so he once he gets smacked to the floor where Hyogoro is, he gets to witness Hyogoro's death. If that happens, I'm all for it. But Hyogoro dying just to incite the samurai who aren't that impressive right now because they've been in Udon for, decades, they're a fraction of who they are. So at this point, I'm not really expecting much from them. So if there's going to be an impactful death, the Straw Hats, the Supernova, or some other members have to get a boost from that, not just the fodder. So I'm cool with Hyogoro dying. I'm cool with, we don't even have to go back to the roof, but somehow we have to just find out, Oda, is great with paneling and stuff. Just find out Luffy just got pummeled or something.
Would you be upset if it was, because I like that. That also goes back to my OG theory of having Luffy see someone important to him die, giving that gear 5th power up or something like that.
Right.
Would you be mad if it was an observation, we panel to the roof, we don't see Kaido.
That wouldn't be bad. Okay.
He has an observation. Yeah. And he feels his life force go away.
If that happens where Luffy can on some, Sage Naruto stuff sense that Hyogoro just died, then that works too. Because that's a fleshing out his observation hockey to a sense.
Telling us it's stronger telling us it was stronger without having to show us nothing crazy.
if that's the case, then yeah, Hyogoro can definitely die next chapter. Because I was also going to say the same thing that you were saying, which is that One Piece isn't Dr. Stone. So Oda can't really, have Chopper take up too much of a chapter explaining how he's overcoming, a drug.
Yo,
He
no
just
one
has to
wants to
kind of
read
do
that.
it. Right. So I mean, Dr. Stone makes it look cool because that's what it's about. You're reading that because you know that's what you're going to get.
And you sold us
But
that since chapter 1.
Right. So for One Piece, Oda cannot, really flesh out Chopper doing what he's doing the way that he can flesh out Sanji cooking or the way he can flesh out, battles. So that means that Chopper pretty much has to be able to overcome any medical obstacle within about like 2, 3, 4 chapters.
Or like,
so
because with like 2 panels per those 4.
And within 2 panels of that, he cannot take up the chapter. So that means that he has to wrap this up. Marco's telling him wrap this up. So I'm definitely seeing that.
And speaking on Marco, are we? Is it time to get to the most important thing? Because honestly, other than that, I don't see anything else really with Hyogoro. Although I will compare it to like Dressrosa when we're getting like the battles with Rebecca and her dad versus like that's what this Hyogoro shit, and like Leo like dealing with Princess whatever her name was, like that's this shit. Like we're gonna probably get some more samurai shit in a little bit, but like I'm ready to get to the Straw Hats, man. Like we got 10 Straw Hats plus Yamato to get to, and because like you said, you can't just show her teeth. And then like, oh yeah, that doesn't exist anymore. Now, does Yamato fight Queen or King or Jack? Is that possible?
At this point, I'm kind of feeling like that's going to be the case. Like, maybe your theory comes to light and Sanji ends up running into Marco and then takes on Queen. And, Yamato ends up running to where the Scabbards are coincidentally, just running away. So then she takes on Jack. I can see that, but I mean, I just don't understand what Yamato would be doing. She has no real interest to go to the roof to face her father or Big Mom. So it's like, okay, she's not going to be doing that. I don't really see her she's too much of a powerhouse to just be accompanying Shinobu and Momonosuke and just playing chase.
Now I could see Sanji going to Jack and Queen going to her. I can see
that too.
But I just feel like that's fucked up for Sanji. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
No. I'm saying that there's build up between Queen and Sanji. Sanji and Jack would be way too like textbook because we've always considered Sanji to be the 3rd strongest Straw Hat. Jack is the 3rd strongest underneath, Kaido. It's too scripted in that sense for it to really be satisfying. And like I said, with Sanji having mostly sacrificial roles, the only way, and I've said this before, the only way that I would be satisfied with Sanji versus Jack is if,
like you said,
if they turn Jack into an appetizer.
Yeah.
So other than that, Yamato has to do something. So at this point, I think it's a calamity.
It has to be because there's no more Toby Ropo unless you like cancel out Nami and Usopp's battle, which I don't think Oda's gonna do because like that has something to do with Tama. Like that's gonna be them overpowering that. X-Drake's gonna be taking on Apu, so like I don't see that happening with Yamato taking on Apu. I just don't see any more like super strong people for her to battle if it's not a calamity.
And, for Momonosuke's growth, he has to overcome tough situations. So if he just gets off scotch-free, just being accompanied by Yamato and Shinobu, and he doesn't have to watch, perhaps Yamato fight on his behalf and, do something really, really dangerous, then, he's not really going to grow from this war. Right now, he's not really seeing what's going on. He's, inside of Yamato's clothing, basically just holding on to her scared. So Yamato has to be put in some kind of danger at some point so that we can see what's going on with her, but also for Momonosuke's growth.
Question, is this where Kanjuro and Orochi come? Do they strike? Because people are saying Kanjuro's still alive. Me and you have both said Orochi could be alive. Is that where Yamato fights those two and Momonosuke has to witness it?
That could also be possible, but right now, Oda's doing a very good job of just having me
On our
not
toes.
know what to expect, because like at first the fact that they were both off screened was a huge red flag to me. Then the fact that it's like, okay, well, Kaido's using King's sword to behead Orochi. Like, that's so weird. Like, Kaido would just squash Orochi or, Boro breath him or rip him to shreds with his claw. Like, he could do so many things, but why is he using King's katana
And why'd they
to
show the
behead
head?
someone? Like, there's so many ways that Kaido, being Kaido, could have killed Orochi. And it's like, okay, you went for the head. That's kind of odd. He has multiple heads. So it just is like, okay, I'm doubting it, but then okay, he just doesn't come back to it. So then it's like, okay, well, I don't really see what their purpose is for them to come back. But then he shows us Orochi's head again a couple of chapters ago,
And gives a silhouetted person, because I feel like that's Hiyori. Like I'm sold on that now. Like,
yeah. And if that's Hiyori, then like I said, and we've discussed before, if that's Hiyori, then Orochi's coming back, because Hiyori did specify she wants to kill Orochi, and she has plenty of hate, and we know that. So if that's the case, she's coming back. Kanjuro, it's just so weird that he got off screen. Like, so it's kind of like, okay, if Orochi's back, Kanjuro's back, they are a pair. And as of right now, because I feel like it's Hiyori, I do feel like it's Orochi, but I have no idea when she's coming up.
yeah.
So I don't know.
Those are just questions I want to ask. But let's get to Marco, where this is the most important stuff of this chapter, in my opinion, at least. He's taking on Queen and King at the same time, and they looking like some wimps, bro. It's looking like I was ready to come on here and slander the Beast Pirates. Like, I see why y'all didn't make it to Marineford. If y'all can't deal with Marco, Shanks' crew would put the paws on y'all.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do have to say, I again enjoy the way that Oda presented this, because last week we were speculating that Queen wasn't there. So it was just Marco versus King. And so it's nice how, we can get certain angles or situations where, we're misled to a degree. So it seems like they're not really using combination moves. Like, whenever we see the Straw Hats.
No, they're fighting by themselves.
They're using one-on-one, isolated fighting. So it pretty much seems like Marco will pretty much send someone flying and then deal with the other guy and then send them flying in the opposite direction. Then someone reverts, comes back, and, he knocks them away again. And it's just this long game of ping pong almost for him. He's finally starting to show some wear and tear, which is why I'm a little bit perplexed, because at this point, Parasparrow's, more competent than I thought, taking out or at least surviving against the Minks in their Sulong form long enough for it to wear off and then beat them.
Can we talk about this right now? Because I have a theory with that. Not to
go for it.
Because we didn't talk about the island moving. I feel like the island moving is the reason why the moon is blocked. But we see it next to the big thing in Wano, which means it's about to get over the land. And I think once it gets over the land, it's going to be open again due to the different seasons of Wano. Like, that's been a major thing of how each portion of Wano is different, and the flower capital's always clear. As we move there, Sulong's coming back, and I think that's the end of Parasparrow.
I mean, yeah. To me, it doesn't make sense for Parasparrow to meet his end by anyone but a mink. And as you said, the weather on Wano has been specified since, day one, which I think is the importance of Parasparrow mentioning. It's unfortunate that your powers rely on the weather, because it's like, well, you lost at a critical moment where y'all could have won, basically. I mean, I'm reading into the text. So, it's very possible that an inconvenient moment for Parasparrow is the moon comes out, Carrot and Wanda, regain their footing, or some of the other musketeers or guardians, regain their footing, and, they catch them lacking. But as of right now, Marco is doing a very convincing job of messing up Queen and King. I was very impressed because, again, Land of Wano, swordsman. This is like the first real time I felt like King really used his sword.
Yeah,
Straight up
cut his
cut
wing
off
off.
Marco's wing. And we know King's using hockey, which means that Marco's hockey is ridiculous. Plus the fact that he is mythical with regeneration. We have no idea what level of damage that did, but it seemed like it did registered no damage at all. And he easily turned his severed wing into.
Oh yeah, I love that little finger attack, the bluebird attack.
I mean, it should remind you of another,
Wait, who am I?
Red Wings.
Oh yeah, right, of Hawks. You're so right.
Yeah. I mean, that's
like
the first thing that I thought of when I saw the way that Marco was controlling it. I was like, I understand he can control, his own blue flames, but the fact that he was actually pulling like feathers specifically, I was like, that was a very nice detail that was used there. So he uses that to counter King. And I have to say again, I tweeted this. It's not Sanji slander, but Marco unironically gave King the same treatment King gave to Raid Suit Sanji here.
Yeah.
I mean, he just sends him through a building and then comes in, and this time using his knee instead of his foot, and just this ridiculous acceleration. Looks like he breaks the sound barrier like 3 times and just pummels the crap out of King. And then just offhand, scars Queen with, his talons.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I actually saw that Queen was scarred, I was like, yo. And Marco kind of like unironically here seems to be somewhat sarcastic. Like when you look at his face, he's like, better hurry, raccoon dog, holding off 2 guys, worth over $1 billion at once. It's pretty rough. Now he's, breathing hard. So we know that, he's actually
exerting
putting out effort. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I love about Marco is that his face always looks like unsurprised just because of how his eyebrows are and how low his eyes are. So when you look at him, he just kind of looks unimpressed. He's kind of like, I've been handling you 2 for a while. Like, yeah, I'm exhausting my stamina, but you guys really aren't on my level. And so I think that the frustration that Marco is experiencing right now is he's keeping most of the Alliance sane with this virus by burning off their stamina with his blue flames while taking on 2 billion berry bounty.
That's a lot to ask of one person. That's right. Not a straw hat. Like, what do y'all do? Like, come on, Sanji, bro. What you doing?
I think Marco is saying, like, there's a specific place. There's a reason why I'm here. And I don't believe that I came all the way to Wano just to take out 2 commanders. So I think that it's not that Marco is in trouble. I think that Marco, like, if he was bloodlusted here, he could have killed King and Queen at this point. He's just kind of occupying them because he's like, I'm waiting for a pivotal moment where, only I could come and, and need or in service. So I'm not trying to waste all this energy babysitting these 2 commanders. So he's like, come on, let's get something happening.
You want me to tell you what I think Marco is for?
What?
I just came to me. Didn't hear this anywhere. I think the island's coming down. I am on train of island coming down.
Let's talk about it.
Crashing on Wano, and I feel like Marco's job is gonna be blue flame over everybody and heal people. Not necessarily like bring certain people back to life, but heal majority of them, but still have casualties to where Luffy's like, what the fuck just happened? And he can like go crazy. Island's dropping.
Yeah. I can see that. So, like, we saw that we just passed up one of the mountains in Wano, so we know that we're actually near the flower capital at this point. To your point, I love to make other references to other anime, so that reminded me of like when Naruto used KCM to protect the entire Shinobi Alliance during the Cataclysm. So it doesn't necessarily bring anyone back to life. But if Marco goes down there and encompasses everyone with his blue flames, then perhaps they can take the damage that, comes to them.
Also giving Chopper something to do without having him to fight somebody.
Right.
Where he can heal all of the people who've fallen.
Right. And I mean, it's kind of sad because it's like, again, the meathead in me wants all the Straw Hats to get to fighting. So it's like, I want to see Monster Point Chopper like scrap with somebody. But it's like, yeah, you're probably going to be, medics are very important to warfare. So
Yep.
I get it. So that is Chopper being relevant the way that his character is set up to be relevant. So
And by dropping it, it shows that it's y'all escaped the bird cage because y'all were better than the warlords. But this is, and I think just from Sparrow saying it, for them constantly bringing up, this is a Yonko. Y'all aren't just gonna easily beat them. And without having Kaido like actually beat the supernovas, that's a way for Oda to like subvert showing them getting their ass whooped and bringing them back in some ass pull way by just making them continue to fight. But you drop it, thus causing an emotional surge of energy and like for the combatants. And at the same time, it lets Momonosuke see something traumatic, which he can grow from. And at the same time, it shows the Wano people that the dawn is here. And then also it's kind of inspirational because Onigashima was destroyed, if it is, and you can build up Wano anew because what was there wasn't right. You build it anew, the new dawn. I don't know. It seems like an Oda thing to do.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Momonosuke is scared of heights. So if the island falls, he's falling with it. That should be the most traumatic falling experience he ever has. And, I'm not a psychologist, but I mean, I do believe that there's a technique called like flooding where you just expose yourself to what your fear is at like the highest level. So
might activate his devil fruit.
It might activate his. Now, I'm not saying that he would be able to counteract Kaido's,
No.
Like that would be that's cool. But
just him being able to like fly better and like be a dragon. He might save some people.
Yeah, he might save some people. Right.
No, he's not about to lift up the.
Yeah.
No. That bitch is falling. I think he'll like catch the scabbards. Marco will catch majority of the people falling. Luffy might be in gear 4 of holding Zoro on his back. Or shit, Law might teleport him. Any of those things are possible. But I'm just saying, it would be very poetic if they fall and Yamato's like, oh shit, and Momo's like falling, but he hears his sister or some shit. And that would be a good way to show this like silhouette person. He hears his sister scream and he goes over and saves like all the scabbards and is like, Lord Momonosuke, like Momonosuke-sama, you've grown, like that type of shit.
Right. Yeah, no, that would be great. I'm just thinking about this though. Another thing I really enjoyed about this chapter is, you remember last chapter review, we spotted Hirogoro and we were like, oh, look, it looks like Hirogoro. We were like, that couldn't be him. And then this chapter is just like, oh, wait.
That is him.
It was him. Because I remember I was like, why did Oda draw Hirogoro in his prime? Like, what's going on here? Just randomly in this panel. And that was answered. So that was nice. But with the way that this chapter ended and the fact that, we got nothing on Robin versus Black Maria, at this point, I have no idea what to expect. I'm glad that there's no break. There is no break.
Yeah, there's no break. So they're not getting. They'll get the Dragon video this week because it's on deck. We have it. We just put it out because there was no break. So like, I don't know. We may put it out. We may hold it till the because I feel like there's a break coming. But I feel like
at some point,
I feel like a break is coming. I feel like do this. Is round 1 of the fights on Onigashima with all these people, and is round 2 on the ground?
I definitely think so.
Like they start because if it, I just feel like okay, no break this week, and if there, let me just put it like this: if there's no break the following week, we're getting the intro of all these fights. Maybe some people hitting people. And then I think when we get the break, when the break is coming, that's when the bitch is gonna fall.
I think so. I mean, if you think about it, Oda's already set up 2 silhouettes for no reason. I mean, not really no reason. It's obviously for narrative purposes. But I'm saying like those could be pieces that he starts off, the next round with.
Also, Act 3 has to end soon, and I'm not seeing tragedy. That's not like, to me. At this point, yes, if Hirogoro's the tragedy, then okay. But it has to be like what you said, where Luffy has to know some way. Or if the Scabbard's death is that, he has to figure it out some way. But to me, an easy thing without having to kill somebody, just because Oda's not big on killing people, you make the thing fall. You make it fall. That's tragedy enough.
Regardless, someone has to die. I don't care. Someone has to die.
That's a fact.
Mean, Marineford, like, he doesn't show death, but we know that, like, pirates and Marines were dead on the ground everywhere. So it's like, okay, sure, we know that some of these beast pirates are dead, some of these samurai are dead at this point, but, like, nah, man, like, I need to see someone die.
CP0 already said it was like they only took out 100 samurai, I think, and like 1,000 or 2,000 or 5,000 beast pirates. So it's like, you did the calculations. If they keep going at that pace, they could win. So it's like they gotta come. Something gotta happen. Something's about to happen because it just seems too upbeat. And I was the person that was against all the reviews saying it's too upbeat, but now it's like, okay, it's getting closer, because I just feel like, and that was a panel that I feel is very Oda-esque, the one showing we were right by that tall ass mountain that's in the background of the fire capital. You don't show that for no reason.
I mean, every single fight as we've seen right now definitely seems winnable, and that's ridiculous. I think Big Mom's quote back in Whole Cake, it's like, what's your worst case scenario? And Brooke was like, well, we got a poneglyph in case Sanji decides not to come back. And she's like, your worst case is you get a poneglyph, no one dies? Like, like, what are you on? And so it's like, right now, we can all, as a fan base, see Jinbei beating who's who. We can all see Frankie pulling out a win on Sasaki. We know that Nami and Usopp are very creative, so Oda's going to come up with a way for him to beat Ulti in page 1. I mean, with Tama, it already seems somewhat possible. Robin, I'm telling you, she's going to squash Black Maria. Whatever that tool is that Black Maria has, Brooke's going to counter that.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, you go to the roof. Zoro's already managed to cut Kaido. Kid's already, he hasn't really done much since Kaido.
But I know what you're saying. Like, Killer's gotten some blows, and Law's gotten blows, and Luffy's done some stuff. Luffy's being compared to Shanks, Roger, and the boys.
Where's the conflict here?
Yeah.
Like, sure, okay, CP0's here, but they have no idea how well things seem to be going for the Straw Hat Alliance right now. It's just, like, come on. Like,
and to me, after watching the anime episode of Roger and Whitebeard striking, I know people might say Luffy's not in his prime yet, but look, if he want to beat him, he gotta show me, because what I saw Roger and Whitebeard do, essentially, even if you don't think Kaido can do that to a certain extent, Kaido's the person with the biggest bounty as of now. He has to be at least 3/4 of that, at least, or at least half. And I don't know if Luffy's at a third or a fourth yet.
Well, see, look, this is the way I look at it. So I've been comparing the anime and the manga. To me, where I think Luffy's at is, so obviously, let's take Odin versus Whitebeard, right? So Odin versus Whitebeard let me know that Zoro, first of all, is not Odin level yet. Odin is out here fully using his armament hockey and not wheezing at all, using 2 of these blades. So we have a better stamp to know where Zoro is. But then you look at Luffy, all right? So Whitebeard pulls off a Quake Fist on Odin. He sends Odin flying through the air, and Odin literally is like, huh? Like, what happened? And gets back up. Like, that is way more impressive than what happened at Marineford. However, you got to think about this situation. Whitebeard obviously can assess people. So he knew that Odin was not necessarily a killer or had murderous intent so much as he was this excited samurai who's trying to go on a journey. So Whitebeard was definitely not like enraged and like, oh, I'm going to kill you. It was more like, settle down. So we know that Quake Fist, although it was animated beautifully, was probably not as powerful as the one that he, made a crescent moon out of Kainu's face in Marineford, because he was livid. He was bloodlusted at that point. He's older, but he's trying to take Kainu's head off.
Yeah.
So my question is, when Luffy hit Kaido with Red Rock, how does that compare to the Quake Fist that Whitebeard hit Odin with? And my impression is that those two powers right now are probably comparable. Meaning, if you substitute Odin clashing with Whitebeard, if Luffy's Red Rock hit that version of the Quake Fist, I still think Luffy would lose that clash because it's freaking Prime Beard. But I think Luffy and him would be clashing for a while. So Luffy is not at the Whitebeard and Roger, their blades aren't even touching yet. But I do think Luffy can contend with like a Quake Fist from Prime Beard at this point.
Ooh,
so
that's
he's getting there. Now that's kind of edgy.
I was gonna compare Luffy to Odin. Not when you said it, I thought you were going that way. I thought you were gonna say like Odin's fist is like a thumb.
Odin scales to Whitebeard though. That's
True.
the thing. Like Odin scales to Whitebeard and Roger. Roger sent him, flying away, but Odin stayed conscious and was still excited. Like,
and I consider those hits like Thunder Bagua. That's what I was.
Right.
That's where I was going with it.
That's what I'm saying. So Odin just kind of ate that and was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let you like just get away with that. Like that was nice, but let me show you what I can do." So it's like Odin wasn't like, "Oh crap, let me stand down. Like I'm out of my league." He was looking at that like, "This is fun. This is an uphill battle." So without a doubt, Roger and Whitebeard are above Odin. And without a doubt, in my opinion, Whitebeard and Roger are obviously above Luffy. The same way I believe Kaido is still obviously above Luffy. But Red Rock versus that Quake Fist, I think Luffy can hold out against that Quake Fist for a while. The same way that, Odin kind of held out against a bunch of Whitebeard's attacks for a while. And then Whitebeard overpowered him. So that's kind of where I'm seeing Luffy right now. And that makes sense because, again, Kaido's saying, like, you remind me of Odin. So Luffy's in that range. Zoro's getting in that range. So do I expect that kind of a clash?
That's what I'm saying. Like it all depends on where you view Kaido, because after this, Luffy has to be at least near that, maybe not that level because that's Kaido and Whitebeard, but like he has to be close.
I think Luffy will be able to do that when he gets the chance. Like he gets out of Wano. He and Zoro are going to get a massive, hockey balloon. The Straw Hats themselves, with Rooftop, Zoro and Luffy, Sanji either beating Queen and Jack, or at least Queen, hopefully. Yamato hopefully beating a Calamity, and Jinbei and Frankie taking out top tier, Toby Roppo,
who could have been.
The Straw Hats are looking stacked. If Robin and Brooke take out Black Maria, like that's looking like Shanks at Marineford type of a crew. So at that point, I'm saying, okay, now Shanks, like mid-diffs Luffy's crew, which means that Luffy's crew can now do what Luffy did against Katakuri and make up that difference in a battle with Shanks. So essentially, when they come to battle, I think that Shanks is still going to be more powerful than Luffy, but Luffy's going to make up that difference. And then we're going to see that kind of a clash where Shanks is like, okay, like you're there, like throw a punch, and they're not going to be able to like hit each other.
Touch,
like,
okay. Yeah. I'm just because the anime made me be like, yo, I don't know if my guy's there yet.
I don't know. I don't know.
And I definitely don't think Kid is there yet.
Oh no! Look, man. Look, I said
like I don't know if Kid's gonna be a Yonko when Luffy becomes a pirate king. Maybe like when they do the time skip.
He will.
You think
he will? But at this point, I'm not expecting much from Kid during this arc. What I'm expecting is that this is a
motivation. Yeah, okay.
This is motivation because
might get a hockey bloom like Luffy versus Katakuri. Like
at Sabato, we saw that for the first time, Kid saw Luffy and could say like, okay, this guy's just as crazy as me. So he already kind of like approved of Luffy, in my opinion. That's my take on how he was. Because Luffy openly said, "I want to become the Pirate King." And Kid was like, I haven't met someone else who lives as freely as you. And if, like, that's what I expect from pirates. of this caliber. So we know that he accepted him, but he never really got to see why Luffy got that bounty, because Kid is a freaking menace to society, and that's a high reason why he has that bounty. Luffy has that bounty because he's really put paws on some of the strongest people in the verse. So Kid had no idea that he was a support character, you know? So when he's saying, wait a minute, that's the MC of the show? He was like, wait a minute, okay, yeah, I'm humbled. I got to go back to the line.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm seeing right now.
He got to go back to the gym.
Law was like, oh yeah, Luffy was doing that in Dressrosa. This is a thing he can do. And Kid's like, what?
And now see, Law, it's not time to talk about Law. We're getting into too much because we have to have a whole Law theory video because there's people that feel a certain way about him. And I'm
Law got a hockey boom. That's all I'm saying. Law got his ass handed to him in Dressrosa. Law is very powerful, and Odin is just playing with us. Yeah. I will save that for a Law video, but Law is cruising right now.
The problem with Law is his crew, but we will talk about that.
Nothing. He got Beppo and San Juan or whatever. It's a whole bunch of
Jean Bart.
I can never remember that dude's name.
No.
Law's crew is fodder.
You've called him two different people's names. You called him San Juan from San Juan Wolf, and I forget who you called him the first time, but that just makes me laugh.
I can't distinguish his other two who we've never even seen their faces.
Sachi and Penguin?
What? That's your crew? Like, we at least know Heat for Kid. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like something, you know, that's true. I know I'm rambling at this point, but Beige's crew has, you know, people who I don't remember their names right now, but
I know they're not fodder. They're like, yeah.
They're distinguishable from each other. Like, Law's crew is nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
And he don't have numbers. Like, at least Beige got numbers. At least Kid got like fodder. Like, Law doesn't have fodder. It's him, his polar bear, the two dudes with the hats, and the old slave. Like, that's it, dog. That is it.
I'm gonna save that for another video.
Yeah, because that's something we got to talk about for sure. But that's all we got this week, Christian. Tell people where they can follow you on social media.
All right, so Instagram and Twitter is going to be Design Season LLC for my artwork. Example behind me, or just for my normal stuff, it's going to be Art Season. So ARCHSZN. That's on Instagram and Twitter.
Y'all make sure y'all follow Christian. Check out his art. Y'all can follow me at LynBWT. Follow Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. We may drop the dragon video this week. I don't know. Just depends on how I'm feeling during the week. If not, we're going to save it for the following because it's a really good video that you guys are really going to enjoy. Probably going to drop it this week. But because we are working on the next review for when there is a break, which will be where instead of doing a theory, we're doing the Alabasta arc. It's when that includes Drum Island and some other shit, but that main arc. So we'll do that. But yeah, that's all we got this week. We'll be talking to you next week because there's no break. So I'm excited to see where we go from here. But y'all make sure y'all follow Christian, and until then, peace.
Peace.